So one of the biggest reasons that you might not be able to manifest with as much ease and speed and consistency as you would like to is that your nervous system is dysregulated. Because when you are feeling dysregulated and you stay in that state, it's going to be really challenging for you to what I call establish energy syncing, right? And to access the energetics, what I call access the energetics and energy sync to the things that you are wanting to bring into existence. And so it's really important to learn polyvagal theory. It sounds so technical, but polyvagal theory is all about the different pathways of your nervous system and essentially how you deal with trauma. So if that's something that where you feel like you are often triggered and you have a difficult time and you get dysregulated frequently and you have a difficult time getting out of that state, then this is going to be the video for you. I'm going to give you some amazing practical tools and things to do so that you can quickly re-regulate and get back into a the safety zone, which is otherwise called social engagement, and just to feel really grounded and mindful and present and regulated so that you can actually release the kinks and all the obstacles, all the energetic blocks and obstacles along the way so that your energy can flow freely and you can manifest with greater ease and speed and consistency. So let's dive in. So the trajectory that we are currently on, right, is a bit daunting and a bit scary and a bit overwhelming considering our collective humanity and consciousness is where it is as of recording this video, 2025, and we've got all the wars and all the divisiveness and all the perpetuating of the polarity and duality of right, wrong, good, bad, my party, my religion, your religion. It's all a shit show, right? So we can't necessarily change all of that. So again, it's like really helpful to become aware of where you are feeling dysregulated and what those triggers are and which pathway you are ultimately like living in and spending a lot of time in. Because if it's not the safety, grounded, right, social engagement, like the safe level, the green zone, which is your ventral vagal, where you feel mindful and calm and grounded and connected to other people, which is why I keep saying like we heal in community when we are feeling connected to each other. But at the current state of affairs, right, globally, we are totally disconnected. We feel like we want to withdraw, we want to fight or flight. And so that is a collective indication that we are having collective trauma, right? And collective dysregulation of our collective nervous system, never mind just like our individual nervous system. So it's so important, right, that you become aware of the triggers. What are you watching? What are you listening to? What conversations are you having? What are you thinking about? The different pathways of our nervous system will have different language that we use. And that's why I keep harping on being able to access the energetics, right? Because when you are able to access the energy informing your words, literally like what words are you using? There's associated words and different language that is associated with each of the pathways of the nervous system. So for example, when you're feeling safe in that social engagement, ventral vagal green band of your nervous system, you'll use language like, I got this, and you'll feel calm and steady and right, like have minor mood fluctuations, and you will be able to take things in your stride, like you're able to take feedback and right and do something with it rather than like take it personally and then get into the fight flight. So it's like it can happen very quickly that we get triggered and go into another pathway. So if you're aware, right, that you've gotten triggered and now you feel or hear yourself saying something like something isn't right. And at this level of dysregulation, you may feel things like nervousness, sadness, increased mood fluctuations, inconsistent performance. You might be more easily overwhelmed and irritated, right? So this yellow band here is where things are starting to get into the fight-flight pathway. And then if it keeps escalating, you might find yourself in the struggling phase where you start to feel like I can't keep this up, whether it's I can't keep up this job, I can't keep up this relationship, I can't keep up my financial status, I can't keep up this level of income that I'm earning, I can't keep up these clients, I can't keep up whatever it is, right? Like insert your struggle here. This is going to give you an indication that your nervous system is not doing well with it, you're not in alignment with it, and you are shutting down the part of your brain that then gets into what's possible and right, that potentiality and actuality that I talk about, where because everything ultimately is energy. And in your soul state, when you are tuned and tapped into your soul state, you have access to infinite potentiality, everything that's possible, because everything is ultimately energy informing. You don't have all the kinks. All the kinks are all the beliefs and the values and the identities and the roles and the like shoulds and just all the programming that you are operating from that doesn't need to be there. So if we remove all the programming that doesn't need to be there, you have a clear channel of source and soul state energy that can just flow through and manifest with greater ease and speed and consistency. And then obviously in crisis mode, you're going to feel like you can't survive this, right? Whatever this thing is. And in this day and age, right, like with all this divisive polarity, duality that is being perpetuated by the media and by our own, right, like lower level states of conscious awareness, and just like our collective inability to understand the nature of energy, to, right, we perpetuate the polarity and the duality with judgments and judging like right and wrong and good and bad, and we are the chosen ones, you are not the chosen ones, like our party is better than your party, my religion is better than your religion, carnivore is better than vegan, right? Whatever it is. So again, we're talking about like regulating your nervous system. And when you feel triggered, when you feel dysregulated in any way, shape, or form, and irrespective of if you are experiencing the signs and the symptoms of your sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight flight one, right? Where you'll feel anger and rage and where you're going to want to fight someone or like flee away from them. That's like one level of dysregulation in the sympathetic nervous system. And then if it keeps going and it escalates even higher, that's when you get to the parasympathetic nervous system and you get into the freeze and you just withdraw and you don't want to, like, it's hopeless, helpless, it's depressed, it's, you don't want to go out, see anyone, etc. Just remember in other videos that I've talked about, like putting your hand on a hot stove, right? If you, our negative emotions and like our pain signals are there to help us, right? It is energy in motion, emotion. So negative emotions are just as valuable and viable to help us become more enlightened, become, right, like have more self-mastery and manifest quicker with ease, speed, and consistency. But if you are leaving your hand on the hot stove and you feel the pain, you feel the indicators, you get the feedback, the instant feedback that like, oh, this is not so great. Like this is sore, this is painful. And you keep your hand there, right? Like it is not going to have a good outcome. So when we think about your ability to re-regulate in your nervous system and your ability to really like, you know, take your manifestation to that quantum jump level where it's just like quantum manifestation, ease, speed, consistency all the time, like flow state, everything's really and truly working as if by magic. It's when you recognize the sign, oh, pain, ow, okay, and you take your hand off. You don't just leave it there and linger and then like go and talk about it in therapy or coaching or counseling, and you then talk to your friends about it and you're like, oh, like it's really, really hot and uncomfortable, and like, you know, or you keep talking about how hot and uncomfortable it used to be when you did have your hand on a hot stove. It's like none of that helps. So it helps to like recognize it, become aware of it, and then move on from it and be like, okay, cool. Like now what else is possible? What else can I do? What else would be a contribution here, right? How else can I perceive this? And that's practically and pragmatically, when I talk about being able to access the energetics, that's essentially what I'm talking about, is getting really practical, because it's like, okay, it's hot. Like that's, you're not just going to like sit there and be like, you know, say your affirmations, be like, it's cool. Like saying your affirmations, like when your fucking tire has a puncture in it or your hand is on a stove, saying your affirmations, being like, you know, coolness is coming to me in abundance. Like, no, it's fucking hot. Take your hand off and do something about it. And so it's not just about that. You can't, it doesn't matter if you visualize, right? Like you can't, you sit there and visualize like, my hand is not on the stove. Everything is, you know, amazing. Like I am the being, I am the version of myself that doesn't have my hand on the stove. Like, can you hear the like illogic, irrationality of what people are perpetuating and you know, encouraging you to do to become a masterful manifestor, or to you know, increase your performance, have higher performance, have higher vitality, have higher abundance. It's like all of these, you know, like traditional self-help techniques and tips and advice, like it doesn't work. Like it has legs up to a certain point. One of the fastest, most effective ways for me to help you regulate your nervous system, get you back into that safety zone, is to get out in nature, and not just get out into nature, but have no distractions, no other necessary people. Like if you want to take your fur babies or your pets with you, that's perfectly fine. But try to just be you and nature, and even more than that, try and have your bare feet on the ground. So I would highly recommend that you do your own research on grounding/earthing. Just a quick little Google search will yield so much interesting information. There's even a movie on it, which I'll list down below. It's so fascinating. But here is a summary of the key benefits, right? So it will regulate your nervous system because it shifts you out of fight, flight, or freeze and into a more calmer, connected state, right? That ventral vagal state. So it also reduces stress and anxiety, and listen to this, by balancing cortisol and lowering the sympathetic, the fight flight activation. So cortisol obviously is a killer in so many ways, shapes, and form. It also improves your sleep quality because it supports healthy circadian rhythms and it calms your body before rest. So if you can go out and have a little quick walk, or just put your feet, again, barefoot on the earth in any way, shape, or form, even if you don't have grass, put it on the concrete. It's like it's earth. As long as there's some connection to the earth, then like that's it. Even if it is fucking snowing outside, go and put your little feet on the snow for 5 minutes, as long as you can possibly manage. So like, no excuses. Get your little feet barefoot and on the earth as much as possible. It also decreases inflammation and pain because it promotes physical recovery. And it also supports your cardiovascular health by thinning the blood. It's called like blood viscosity. So it thins your blood and improves your circulation, which is amazing. It also enhances your mood and energy because I believe that like you're out in nature, right? Especially when you've got no distractions, when you're not like, yes, I love walking and listening to things too, and audiobooks and videos, etc. But sometimes I just listen to nothing. I try not to think. I try not to like engage with what I'm thinking and feeling. I just notice it. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, because it's transient. And the less like attached you can become to your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and like everything that's going on in here, the more space, the more awareness, the more like mastery you have over all of those different functionalities. And you recognize like you are not your thoughts and your emotions and, you know, your actions or your inactions, etc. Like we are not that. We are ultimately our soul state. And the last benefit is that it restores a felt sense of safety. And remember, like you can't manifest really masterfully with ease and speed and consistency if you don't feel safe. If you don't feel safe that you're going to get that extra money coming in, if you don't feel safe to raise your prices, if you don't feel safe to ask for that loan, if you don't feel safe to put boundaries in and say no to that client, if you don't feel safe to, right, like tell your partner how you're really feeling, if you don't feel safe to go out and find a new job and like submit your resume, if you don't feel safe to, you know, like get into a new higher position and like lead a team, if you don't feel safe to have the difficult conflicting conversations and like, right, like have it out with someone, if you don't feel safe to connect with others or with yourself in, right, that means you're not in your the social engagement ventral vagal state of being, right, which is your safety zone, and you are either in your fight flight, which is the sympathetic, or the freeze, which is the parasympathetic. So if there was anything that I could encourage you to do, at least 5 minutes a day, every single day, is just to walk barefoot on the earth and notice how it feels. Because the more conscious and aware you are of your actions and your efforts and what you're doing and what outcomes that those yield, right? Like if you're getting a different result in your external, resulting environment from different actions, ultimately what that means is you're becoming more aware, more conscious. And to take this to another level, I want you to notice even what you are thinking about it and how you are feeling about it, right? Take a meta standpoint and start to, again, get some space from your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and start to notice them and to look at them and to be like, because remember, like it's the behavior is taking shoes and socks off and walking with barefoot on ground. Like that's the behavior, that's the action. To give you a different result in your health, right? To eliminate the inflammation, reduce blood viscosity, right? Like all those benefits would be the example of your resulting environment and reality that you would find yourself in if you took those behaviors. Now, where the rubber meets the road is that most people, right, are aware of different behaviors or actions that they need to take or should take or would like to take, right? It's not always about a have to. Like I'm not telling you have to do it. I'm just saying, like, if you would like different health benefits and to be re-regulated with your nervous system, like this is what you can do. When you feel like you have to do something or you should do it or you must do it or you need to do it, like that's the realm typically of when you are operating from projected or injected values from others, whether it's society, your parents, your friends, etc., mentors, that are saying like you should do this, or you believe that you should do this, and now you're injecting the values of others, and those values might not be aligned with you. And so this is where like the whole other level of being tangible and practical and aware and conscious of like your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions and your thoughts about your thoughts and your thoughts about your emotions and your emotions about your or your feelings about your feelings about your thoughts. All of those different things start to become really relevant and important to be aware of, because that gives you the indication. Because remember, when I talk about leverage points of change, in order to change your, in order to manifest with greater ease and speed and consistency, whatever actions you take or not or don't take are driven, right, by higher leverage points of change. And so above behavior, right, is your capabilities, and you know how to take your socks off and your shoes off and put your feet on the earth. Like, you definitely know how to do that from a capability point of view. And capability, remember, is broken up into skill and will. So you're skilled in being able to take your shoes and socks off and walk on the earth barefoot. Now it's about, are you willing to? Willingness, we have to go up a level, up a leverage point of change, right? Which typically is informed by what you believe and what you value and who you are. So if you are like, I'm not the kind of person that would walk around barefoot, then that's an identity that you are walking around with. So it's like, okay, well, why? Who would you be? Who would you like, who are you? If you're like, and what's the difference? And like, who do you need to be? But it's not it's not always just about like the identity, because you hold multiple identities at once. We all do. And so it's about like really self-discovery and saying like, well, what are the identities that you're operating from? And are those identities even aligned with who you truly be? Because who you truly be is even above identity in terms of your soul state, who I call your soul state. And when you tune in, tap in, and turn on to your soul state, right, which transcends identity, labels, all the roles and the masks, including things like religion and race and sex, and whether you're a morning person or a night person or a grounding person or not, or like all of those identities are left behind at the level of soul. Soul state is like ultimate, because it is tuned in, tapped in, turned on to like the infinite source of energy where all possibilities exist. Infinite potentiality is there. And that's truly when you start to express and like live from and co-create and manifest from that source energy. Boom, like shit happens as if by magic. And you transcend and you eliminate all the lies of like, well, oh, I'm not that kind of person that can take my shoes and socks off and walk around barefoot. It's like, okay, how's that working out for you? There is no right or wrong at the level of soul state, right? Like there is no judgment, actually, because there's no right, wrong, good, bad, better, worse, positive, negative. In soul state, at the level of soul state, energy is just like in its infinite wave potentiality. Like there is no charge. It's collapsed. The charges which perpetuate this perception of duality, meaning like right, wrong, good, bad, better, worse, positive, negative, even the positive, negative ions don't exist. They've been collapsed. And that's why, right, like you are experiencing the collapsed wave function in each moment that you're observing. And that's why, like, when you start to talk about this when I start to talk about this from a perspective of like manifestation and co-creation, you are co-creating, you are manifesting literally by collapsing wave functions and by observing your external reality. But the external reality, what we've never been taught, is that it's old energy, right? You already have collapsed it based on what you believe, based on who you think you are, right? And all the different lower leverage points of change that are informed by your soul state and are informed by energy. That's why for me, when you start to learn energy intelligence, you start to learn how to access the energetics that are informing everything from your thoughts to your feelings, your emotions, your actions, and the seemingly physical reality that we find ourselves in. Boom, like that is when you truly become like the master of your destiny, and you become fully sovereign, and like everything and anything is totally possible. Just go out in nature for at least 15 to 20 minutes and just be with yourself and nature, and it will help you to re-regulate, ground, connect, feel safe, be more mindful, and it will change your life. Okay, so if you are enjoying content like this and you want to dive even deeper, you can certainly book a one-on-one session with me. I would love to work through accessing the energetics with you to figure out like where in your nervous system we need to re-regulate, and to help you manifest with greater ease and speed and consistency, whatever it is that you're looking to. You can also access my Aligned Living course below, which is a self-paced program to help you understand really the mechanics of what it takes to learn energy intelligence and access the energetics and the leverage points of change that I often talk about. So that's also possible down below. And don't forget to subscribe and to hit the notification bell so that you can come back to my channel and see new videos when they land. Thanks so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.